Hello, Pat Skeets here from meandmycricket.com. Today I'm doing the second part of a travel album. It's travel scrapbook numbers 1 and 2. It's a road trip along the Pacific West Coast, Washington and Oregon State. Absolutely beautiful trip. I highly recommend it. Anyway, this is part 2. We started the trip in Vancouver and we went down through Oregon and then turned around and came back through the cities, not along the coast. So now we've just arrived in Washington State from here. So this is like a bunch of pages I'll be sharing with you. For the middle of our road trip, there's lookouts all along the highway. We took the coast highway and beautiful lookouts everywhere. It's just gorgeous. And everyone is different. The geography varies so much. So this is Long Beach, Washington. And so world's longest beach, they say. I don't know about that. Anyway, we're all wearing blue, and this place was just sand dunes of grass. It was beautiful. So that gave me the grass theme for this. So I did big images of grass, and I lined each of the photos with grass borders. I created a nice border here in the blues and greens with white to make it pop a bit. This I shadowed in the cream because of the sand color and the colors in the photos. So I used a corner punch in the corner of these photos. It's kind of cute. And I just used a border punch here to mat when I matted the photos. Did a nice frame from Elegant Edges on this photo and just put a title of where we were here. So just fun pictures. Lighthouse Oceanfront Resort. Maybe we stayed there if I took a picture of that. I love this page. I think this is beautiful photos. And I think you can't have a gorgeous page if you don't have gorgeous photos. Okay, so this one is another lookout along the way called Haystack. This rock is called Haystack. So we took, every lookout was amazing. So I did take a lot of panoramic photos. Well, my husband did. So there's all these logs along the beach here and this rock sticking out there. Great big one. Boulder, right? It was just amazing, so different. So we took pictures of Haystack, and that gave me a funny theme for this page. So I did a wagon with a haystack in it. I had hay paper, and then I just did a giant title, Haystack. So I'd remember where we were. So it's fun to scrapbook with panoramic photos. We don't take them very often. So when you travel, you can do them easily. You get vistas and beautiful scenes. So it's nice to do that. Okay, so now we're in Astoria, and this is the riverfront trolley. We took this tour on this trolley, and we were waiting for it. So we walked around and took lots of photos. So I just did a corner, pretty paper that had a corner print here, and then I cut out another part of the pattern and put it up here as a little corner in between these photos that I layered. And I had this great trolley photo in Cricut Design Space. So I put myself a picture of me in the window there. This is just photos from around there. I did a background here in the red. The tram was such great colors, the red and gold. So it made it into a great page. I love paper. So pretty. So that was a simple page. Now, in Astoria, there was an area where there was all these anchors. They were like sculptures on the street, and they were huge. This is my husband. He's 6 feet tall. They're just huge, massive things. It's shocking if you don't. I never lived near the ocean, so I wasn't familiar with the size of the ocean liners. And to have an anchor that size would be amazing. Maybe they're just sculptures. I thought they were real. They probably aren't now that I think about it. And this is a giant propeller. Wow, look how big that is. Anyway, I found really cute frames. This was copper looking and these were silver. So it gave me the rust and gray color scheme. And I had this paper. It was beautiful. So I used a copper and cream to go with it. This also has a sheen, a copper sheen to it. The leaves. So anyway, I love these frames that I found in Design Space. And then I found this perfect title, Anchors Away. And then I did some sailor hats for a border. So I just used the gray paper for a background for part of these. Grouped these photos over here and left this beautiful thing here. So that was a pretty page. Interesting sculptures there. That was an interesting town, Astoria. I think that's where they shot the movie Gremlins. They told us on that tour. Okay, so here's another panoramic photo. It's so beautiful. The scenes, the lookouts all along the way. You should stop at every one. So I did great big frames for these photos. And I put two 4x6s in here that I cropped in that one. And then I ran this one right at an angle to make it more interesting, and then did this one straight. So I had just purchased these. There was a package of 5, so I split them into 3 and 2 and did a really spent time placing them perfectly, and then stuck this flower on top to keep them in place. I put a title right along the photo, inspirational, because these are breathtaking views. They really do take your breath away. Look at that scenery. I highly recommend this trip. That was a pretty page. And quite simple, except for the time it took to place those flourishes. Okay, so now there's in Vancouver and all the way down the coast for quite a ways, I noticed there's all these wild berries. They're like raspberries, but I think they're called blackberries or gooseberries. I'm not sure. Here's a photo of the berries. And my brother-in-law couldn't get over how they were growing everywhere. So he wanted to see them up close, so we stopped the car and took some photos of them. And here's him looking at them. So that gave me a theme. There are raspberry images in Cricut Design Space. So, and I had raspberry paper, photographic paper. So I created a border with that and used some gingham to pop this page with the blue for the blueberries here. And I had these pie stickers, so I used those and put the great big title blackberries there. I'm not sure what they're called. I'm sure lots of you will know. Maybe someone can post it below and let me know. Okay, we had stopped for meals along this road trip. So here's some different meals and just good times. And then whoops, this image is a shelf with oil and vinegar and salt and pepper stuff. So it's kind of a foodie image. And so these are just assorted fun photos of different places that we stopped to eat. And then this is a joke. My brother-in-law had to stop. He didn't miss a bathroom all the way down the coast, so we had to find him a bathroom there, and we just all pointed to the men's room sign as a joke. Just a memory. This page has 2 panoramic photos. What a beautiful lookout point this was. I don't even have the name of it written. Absolutely stunning. So we got the hang of doing these panoramic photos with people in them. So we placed people along the wall here, and my husband took a panoramic photo of us while we were looking at out at the scene. So we started having fun, and then we had a snapshot of him sitting on the wall, so I tagged it to the end and attached it to this. That was kind of tricky, cropping all this to fit. But it's a very simple page because the photos take up the whole thing. So I just did a great big flower up here, cut one in half, and then put one on top. And then a flourish. And I added a few gems with the title Beautiful, right? Huge title sitting on top of the photo. Absolutely gorgeous views. This lookout was, you were closer to the ocean. Some of them you're up really high. Wish I knew which one that was. If anybody knows, you could post it. The Beautiful page, and let me know below. So this is like sand dunes. A very sandy lookout. This is, oh, here it is. It says, lookout Cape Foulweather, Myrtlewood. So Cape Foulweather. But a totally different geography there. Very sandy, few rocks, a bit of hills. This paper is so beautiful. I never wanted to touch it, but I finally decided to use it. I cut it up. This flower is one section. This is another section. I used even the leaves on it. And there's another corner, or this is a whole side of it. So this all fit together. I cut it into pieces and spread it around on the background paper. And then I tucked the photos all in and around it and used a border punch of the same colored paper that I matted the photos in. I just did a leafy border all over the place just to tie it all together. I think it turned out pretty well. And how simple is that? There's no Cricut on this page at all. I love it though. Here is Yaquina Bay, and there's there were a few lighthouses along the way on this trip. And this is the Yaquina Bay Lighthouse. I think it's the house where the lighthouse guy lived, and the lighthouse is at the top of the house. It was a fall trip, so I used that title. And here's a border of a lighthouse. And then this was just all a wavy background image, probably from edge to edge. I'm not sure. You can check on my website. So there's a lighthouse up there. This was from a distance, a different one. But anyway, we did go into this museum. This is now a museum. So the next few pages are in the museum here. It was interesting. So this is when you walk in, here's the kitchen. So it's a very old-fashioned kitchen. So I tried to create a kitchen scene here. And so there's the old stove, a table, shelves on the wall. And it was very old looking. So I found this paper that I thought looked like very, very old-fashioned wallpaper. So I put that, and then this is like wainscoting, and I embossed this background. I'll show you this if you can see it. I embossed the background to look like wood, so it was like paneling of wood. And I found old images. This is Mother Hubbard from Nursery Rhymes, and this is Tick Tock Hickory Dock, the mouse ran up the clock, one of those nursery rhymes. I cut the mouse off. There was a mouse running on it. And put a picture on the wall. And then a butter churn, an old sewing machine, a chair with a cat in it. Anyway, I had fun putting this together. It was quite different, but I created an old kitchen. Just fun. I have fun with I scrapbook things most people wouldn't. I scrapbook flowers all the time because I love botanical gardens and I love flowers. Okay, so this is the upstairs part of the museum. So it was the bedrooms. Oh, actually, here's the parlor too, the living room. So there's bedrooms. There's a doll in this cradle, so I did a doll image. Just very simple, did a border along the bottom. And then here's an armoire or a wardrobe, a sofa, a desk with a lamp and a chair on it. Just some furniture that I could find for this. Very simple page. Now this was outside the lighthouse. They had a garden. Everybody had a vegetable garden. So a lot of these papers are K and Company. I love their pads. They aren't around anymore, or I don't know where to find them. Nobody carries them anymore. Anyway, this garden had lots of flowers and artichokes. And I don't know. Look at these. They're huge. Anyway, there was a lovely garden at the Lighthouse Museum, and so I did a lighthouse here. Just patches of different papers all around and stuck the photos here in the boxes. This is like a patchwork that I've made. So I stuck the photos in the patchwork too. And now this is more panoramic photos. This is the Three Graces, this is called. These rocks, the Three Graces. Beautiful long pier going out there. And it was a beautiful panoramic photo again of this lookout place. Absolutely beautiful. So I found gorgeous paper from K and Company again, I think. Anyway, made a border on each side. Used a Martha Stewart border punch there on each side of that border. And then I did a scalloped square, 8-inch square, and turned it as a diamond in the center. Then I just placed my photos. Now these were just scenery, so I overlapped quite a bit with the, and it didn't matter because there was no people in those photos. I did emboss this, and it adds texture, which you can't see, but it adds a lot of texture to it. So I love this. Pretty colors, pretty paper. All right, now this is Cape Perpetua, and this was the most amazing lookout that we saw on the route. All the stops were on the water side of the road, and we were going south, so it was easy to just pull off and look at the lookout. There's a parking spot, and you get out of your car and you go and take pictures. So, but this one was on the mountain side of the road, and we would not have stopped here if someone had not told us about it, because it was the opposite side of the road. And I think it's a national park. You pull in and you drive right up the mountain. So when you get to the lookout, you get out and walk. It's a park area, and there's a hiking trail or a path to walk around up there. But you're so high up, it's unbelievable, the view. It's just amazing. So someone took a picture of all of us up here. It was breathtaking. So I called this Bird's Eye View because we were up so high. And there was a little owl on this title, so I added another owl. This is from a Disney cartridge, or a Pooh. I think it's Winnie the Pooh. So I used, I just created frames by doing large mats, and I embossed the paper behind. Just instead of centering it, I put it down to the corner and up to the corner. I used some glitter paper here because there's glitter on this background paper. And I had these glittery just embellishments that I used. So I had foil punchinello ribbon in gold. I have silver too, but I used the gold here as a border behind. Somebody took a photo of us with the panorama, so I cut it off and just used half of it here, or 2/3 of it. Just beautiful photos. So I used a corner punch on these photos, all the corners. And so that was a beautiful spot, Cape Perpetua. And this is up at that lookout, that same place. Up at the top, we wandered the trails, and there was this ruins up there. It was like being in Europe. It was a big stone cabin or something was there. It was all made of stone. I imagine from the winds and the storms you would get up there. It was very old, falling apart. Anyway, we toured around there and did a walk, and this was another picture of the view from there. It was so pretty. Woods. We were in the woods. And it was very moss on the logs on the ground and trees. Beautiful. So I put the this beautiful paper, and I made a block of it for a background here and a border there, which I shadowed with a wide mat on these. And then I found this great floral image and with leaves and did that in the middle, and I added a butterfly and a few little flowers. It's quite simple, actually. It's the paper that's so beautiful that makes it pop. That's a simple page. Now this is going another lookout, and it's called Devil's Churn. And you pull off and you have to hike down to see it. So this is the hike. So I had fun with this. I used actually 1, 2, 3 layers of Kiwi Lane, and then I did another layer at the top. And I used all these images from Campin' Critters cartridge. There's a moose on a hike and Take a Hike title. There's a deer fishing. I think that's a bear hiking, and a frog catching butterflies. I just had fun with the images on this page. They weren't going to be too big, so and that's photos of us hiking down. I tucked them under the Kiwi Lane. The Kiwi Lane made it flow, and it looks like landscape. I love using it for outdoor photos. So that was a fun page to do. And this is Devil's Churn. This was the reward when we got there. Wow, it was amazing. The waves just crash in here, and this just fills up, and it makes so much noise. And it's so I found this image of a devil, and I had this Halloween font stickers of letters, and it's so I used it here, Devil's Churn. And then they're just pictures of the landscape and of us down there. And then I just used a border punch to mat these photos. This is, I take my panorama photos, I cut them into 3 4x6s, and then I just line them up to scrapbook them. And then this, I made a big block of this paper with a border punch. And then I matted it with black behind so that this would show up. And then I used the same border punch to do this side of this photo on the mat. And this was a Halloween image of kids trick-or-treating, and there's a devil in it. So I did that on there. I just did it for fun. I thought it was a lot of fun. So that's the end of this section 2. So if you like any of these pages, go to my website. The link's posted below. And please subscribe, because there's another issue of this. There's a third video of this trip, road trip. So you can get all the details for all the pages if you go to my website, Travel Scrapbook number 2. And so stay tuned. There's another video coming. Thanks for watching.